there. I am glad you can make it today. We have been talking about parts of the book of Acts and what Paul has been doing as he's been teaching people about Jesus as he travels from place to place. Now, this time we are in chapters 17 and 18 as he continues the second missionary journey that he was going on. Now, uh, from where we were last time, he had just left Philippi, where he had been punished for stirring up trouble, as people would like to say, when actually all he was doing was trying to tell people about God and uh, specifically about Jesus. Well, from there, he went to Thessalonica. Now, at this time, Silas and Timothy are with him, and there appear to be some other people who travel along who are not mentioned, but these two guys especially. Now, this is Timothy's first time out, but he must be doing a fairly good job because he sticks with Paul all the way through it, and then you'll learn a little bit more as we go on. Okay, as you may remember from the other lessons, either one of two things happens when Paul is going to a new city. Either the people there don't really want to hear what he has to say and they get angry about it, or they like hearing what he has to say and they want to hear more. Well, in Thessalonica, it's more of the some people want to hear what he has to say. They really like what he's telling them because he's going to the synagogue and the Jewish people there know the Old Testament scriptures, so he's able to talk to them from them knowing something about God already. And some of the people there do listen, but most do not like what he has to say, and they stir things up to the point that they get together a mob of people. They go looking for him. They end up at Jason's house. And you go, who's Jason? Well, we don't have any other mention of Jason except to know that he is one of the believers. And apparently that's where Paul and Silas and Timothy were staying, but they're not at the house. Well, does that stop the people from trying to cause trouble in all this? No, they just drag Jason in front of the city leaders and say, these guys are causing trouble, or this guy is providing a place for these guys who are causing trouble. And the city officials end up forcing a bond upon Jason. And essentially that means that, okay, this is going to cost you big time if there's any more trouble. So with that, Paul leaves town. He goes on to Berea, and there the people are more receptive. They actually take what Paul has to say and they study the scriptures to see if what he is saying is accurate. And there, a lot of people start following Jesus because of what Paul has to say, and they're pretty good with it. Well, the guys who didn't like Paul back in Thessalonica hear about the people in Berea, and they send folks there to stir up trouble there. So whereas before Paul had to slip away from Thessalonica at night, um, it doesn't sound like he has to do that here, but because there is trouble, some of the believers in Berea escort Paul to the coast. Silas and Timothy aren't a problem, so they stay behind in Berea. And that's good because they can carry on their work there with the teaching and the strengthening of one another with the fellowship that they have. Meanwhile, there's another kind of ship, the one that Paul takes to get down to Athens, and he's going to send for Silas and Timothy to join him. Meanwhile, while he's in Athens, he walks around, takes a look at the city, notices all of these altars to different gods. Now, the Greeks did not really have a god who was like the real God. Um, their gods varied in power, but think about a bunch of comic book superheroes, and that's kind of the way the Greeks saw the gods that they worshipped. And Paul got to talking to some people in the marketplace because that was pretty much accepted practice then. You could go to the marketplace and you could talk about things, and the men in Athens liked to get together and talk about their different philosophies and what they believed and this and that. And it kind of shook down into two basic schools, but um, there were the Stoics and the Epicureans. And the thing to know about them is kind of like with the Sadducees and the Pharisees, they believe some things in common, but other things very different. And Paul has talked to a few of these people, and they are interested in what he has to say because his ideas of God and of Jesus are very different. Now, he doesn't go that much into talking about Jesus until some of them invite him to speak before the groups of philosophers. And when he has that opportunity, he takes full advantage of it because he understands the Greeks and the fact that they are not Jewish, they don't understand the Jewish beliefs. He talks to them about God using things that the Greeks understood, quoting some of their poets, talking about the altars that they have. And he makes a pretty good case for God. And then he starts getting into Jesus. And he gets interrupted before he can finish what he has to say. But there are a number of people who do believe what he has to say. And so he is able to work with them. But the church that begins in Athens just does not have the strength that it would have in other places, and partly because the Greek leaders generally liked arguing about the things they already believed in, and most were not open to hearing new ideas, even though they liked talking about them. Well, it seems at this time Silas and Timothy arrive in Athens. They join with Paul, but he ends up going on to Corinth, which is the capital of the province that they are in. From reading in other parts of the New Testament, he ends up apparently sending Timothy and Silas back to check on the churches they've already established back in Thessalonica and Berea to be sure they're doing okay. And he finds out that they are. Paul, meanwhile, was in Corinth. Now, Corinth is a rough city. Um, it was a place where people just did a lot of bad things. They didn't really know much, if anything, about the real God, even though there was a synagogue with some Jewish people worshiping there, of course. It just was not as influential to the people there. So, Corinth being the kind of place that it was, you would think, okay, nobody would want to hear about Jesus there. But it turns out that a lot of people do. Now, Paul is talking to the Jewish people there, and he meets a couple. This married couple is Priscilla and Aquila. They have come from Rome because the emperor of the Roman Empire has kicked all of the Jewish people out of Rome. They all have to leave. Well, Priscilla and Aquila have come to Corinth. Now, it's possible they may have already been Christians, and what we do know about the emperor kicking out the Jewish people is that there was some kind of um, unrest. And you may remember the Romans did not like problems, they wanted things to be peaceful, and they would kill people until it was peaceful or drive them away. And some people think that the story of Christ had already made it to Rome, and that's what caused the fuss. Because you have to remember, Paul may be out talking about Jesus, but he is not the only person. There are disciples who have spread around and are going to different parts of the world just as Jesus told them to, and they're telling people about Jesus where they go. So while Paul's been working in the places he's been working, other disciples of Jesus have been going to different places and have probably already made it to Rome. Well, anyway, Paul is talking to Priscilla and Aquila and finds out that they have the same job that he does. And I'm talking about a secular job, one to make money so he's able to support himself while he's preaching. They make tents for a living. So he works with them and they are making tents, but he's still talking with people about Jesus. Well, the Jewish leaders in that synagogue do not like Paul doing this. They get tired of it and he has to leave. So he says, fine. And he ends up going next door. There's a building there and he starts working from there, which I'm sure the leaders didn't like because they end up going to court and drag Paul there. And they say, this guy's causing all kinds of trouble. Well, the court official, this guy named Gallio, isn't hearing any of it. He's going, wait a second. You're filing all of these complaints against him, but it has to do with your religion. He can talk about what he wants to. You get out of here. And so from then on, Paul is okay while he's in Corinth. Now, the thing I didn't tell you is that he'd been having trouble in city after city after city and having to leave. But before he got taken into court, God had come to him in a dream and said, don't worry about it. You're going to be okay. Um, it's going to be fine. So Paul did not feel like he had to leave at this time. Well, Timothy and Silas show up, and Paul is now able, with some of the donations that they've received from the other congregations, Paul doesn't have to work. He's able to put that aside and able to spend all of his time preaching and teaching. And he ends up staying in Corinth for a year and a half. Now, that was a long time to be there. Now, Corinth has its problems, and it will again in the future after he leaves, because, as I said, it was a rough city, and the people there are mostly ones who have to be told over and over, no, if you're following Jesus, you can't do this. Or if you're following Jesus, you need to do this. So he'll end up writing them letters after he leaves because this is an important congregation to him in particular because he's worked with them. Now, I'll tell you at this point, Priscilla and Aquila go with Paul when he leaves. And as he's heading back toward Jerusalem, they stop over in Ephesus. He had not been able to go there before. And he stops there briefly and uh, tells the people there because it seems like there was already a church established because he doesn't stay long, but there are already believers. But in any event, Priscilla and Aquila are going to stay there. And Paul says, if God will allow it, I will come back to visit you. Now, there's much more story to go with Paul and with what happens in Ephesus, but I'm going to save that for another day. So, in all of this, you see that Paul could easily become discouraged at the resistance that he gets. But remember, everywhere he goes, somebody is hearing about Jesus and somebody's believing about it. And he's leaving behind people in these places who will be a source of comfort to him in the future. All right, with that, today's tie, I wanted to show you, here's a building with lots of columns in front of it. And I picked it out because in the Greek world there were three types of columns: Doric, Ionic, and Corinthian. And the Corinthian one was the fanciest type. This isn't clear enough to tell what kind of columns were being used here because it was really the way they were decorated at the top and bottom. But I use that just as a reminder of Corinth and where most of the story took place. So I hope you will be back next time. And until then, you be well. Bye.